When a Filipino sang Elvis on stage, nobody in the room expected what came next. The judges leaned forward, the audience froze, and even Simon Cowell, who had already seen thousands of singers, suddenly sat up straight, eyes wide, completely stunned. If you're watching this right now, make sure to hit the like button because what you're about to hear is one of those rare moments that remind you why talent shows exist. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel, because stories like this, they deserve to be witnessed, remembered, and shared. The story begins with 27-year-old Marco de la Peña, a soft-spoken Filipino working 2 jobs in Los Angeles. By day, he cleaned tables at a small diner. By night, he helped load boxes in a shipping warehouse. He rarely slept more than 5 hours, but he never complained. His dream, the one he carried since he was a little boy in Quezon Province, stayed alive inside him. He wanted to sing. Not just anywhere, he wanted to perform on a stage where the whole world could hear him. Marco grew up listening to Elvis Presley through his father's old radio. When life got too hard, when money wasn't enough, when the rain leaked through their tin roof, his father would say, "Anak, listen. Music makes even the poorest home feel rich." Those were words Marco held on to long after his father passed away. Singing became his way of keeping him close. But dreams cost money, and Marco didn't have much. For years, he told himself soon, but soon never came until one ordinary night in the diner, a customer left behind a flyer, "America's Got Talent, open auditions tomorrow." Marco stared at it, heart pounding. Was it a sign? Or just a piece of paper accidentally dropped by someone who didn't need it? The next morning, after a long shift, he stood in front of the audition venue with shaking hands, exhausted but determined. Inside, hundreds of dreamers waited, some confident, some crying, some rehearsing their hearts out. Marco kept quiet. He clutched a small old necklace his father gave him, silently praying for courage. Hours passed. Then his number was called. He walked onto the stage under the bright lights. The judges looked at him, Howie curious, Sophia smiling, Heidi relaxed, and Simon, unreadable. Marco introduced himself softly, his accent thick, his voice trembling. "I'm from the Philippines," he said. "I grew up listening to Elvis Presley, and today, I want to honor my father." Heidi leaned forward. "What song will you be singing?" Marco swallowed hard. "Can't Help Falling in Love." The audience murmured. Many had heard this song 1,000 times. Some even expected another average cover, nothing special. Then the track started. But Marco didn't sing the way most people did. He didn't copy Elvis. Instead, he delivered the first lines almost like a whisper, soft, trembling, vulnerable. It wasn't just singing, it felt like a confession. His voice carried pain, childhood memories, and the kind of emotion only someone who lived through struggle could express. By the second line, the room fell silent. By the third line, you could hear people holding their breath. Simon lowered his pen, eyes narrowing. Something about Marco's tone was pure, raw, almost haunting. It wasn't the biggest voice, but it was the kind that touched the soul. Then Marco gently transitioned into a deeper register, channeling a hint of Elvis without losing his own identity. It was sweet, powerful, and heartbreakingly honest. His voice cracked once, not from weakness, but from truth. And that's when the audience felt it. They weren't just listening to a performance, they were witnessing a story. Midway through the song, the crowd stood up, cheering him on. Marco had to fight tears as he continued singing. The lights blurred, the world shrunk around him, and for a moment, it felt like his father was right there in the room. When he held the final note, long and trembling, the entire audience erupted into applause. Sophia wiped her eyes. Heidi covered her mouth, stunned. Even Howie looked shaken. But all eyes were on Simon. He stared at Marco for a long moment, then stood up. A standing ovation from Simon Cowell. The audience exploded. Marco froze, unable to process what he was seeing. Simon rarely stood, but when he did, it meant something extraordinary had happened. When the cheers finally softened, Simon leaned toward his mic and said, with a voice that carried both disbelief and admiration, "Marco, I didn't expect that. I don't think anyone did. Your voice is gentle but powerful. You didn't just sing the song, you lived inside it. Your father would be very, very proud. Marco broke down in tears. Heidi added, you made the entire room fall in love with you. Sophia said, this is why we do this show. This moment right here. Howie simply said, you touched us. Every single one of us. Then Simon looked at the others. I'm giving him a yes. 1,000 times yes. All 4 judges voted yes. Marco let out a cry, part disbelief, part relief, part joy. The crowd cheered as he walked off the stage, clutching the necklace his father had given him, whispering thank you, thank you. Backstage, Marco collapsed into a chair, overwhelmed. A staff member hugged him, saying, you did it. You made history today. But what truly mattered wasn't fame or money, it was that Marco proved something to himself, that no dream is too big, no background too humble, no obstacle too heavy. His story became an inspiration not just for Filipinos but for anyone who ever felt too small to chase something big. And if you're still here watching this, let Marco's journey remind you, you never know when your moment will come. You just have to show up. If this story touched your heart, give the video a like so more people can see it, and hit subscribe so you never miss inspiring stories like this. Because sometimes, all it takes is one voice, one brave step, to change everything. And just like Simon said that night, Marco, the world needs to hear you. If you'd like, I can also make white heavy checkmark 8 cinematic image prompts for this story. White heavy checkmark a full SEO package with title, description, hashtags, and ranking keywords. Just tell me.